total and utter shit up energy that an Aries full moon can definitely bring to the sky. Hi. Hello. My name is Melanie and I am super jazzed to be here as always. Today we're going to be talking about the Aries archetypes, correspondences in relation to Aries, so crystals, chakras, tarot cards, tools you can use to help create and add different levels and layers of value to your full moon ritual. In my full moon series, I do not cover transiting planets, so I will just be talking about the Aries archetype in correlation to the full moon energy at play. I will cover briefly the different aspects of the full moon that you can potentially build a ritual around, different energies that you can call upon and kind of integrate into your working. Before I get into this Aries video though, I do want to acknowledge and apologize for the little lack of lunar content last month. I missed the Pisces full moon video. I will be filming one, creating one, and releasing that here for you shortly. It will not be around the time of the Pisces full moon, but I do want to have the correspondences and the information that I normally provide on all of the archetypes available up here on the channel. So I have not forgotten about Pisces. I will release one for you here in the next coming weeks. My dog Ripley left the room very quietly, got a bone, brought it back into the room, and has now decided to sit right next to me and chew the bone very loudly. So if you hear any gnawing, that would be him. As always, we're going to cover the astrological archetype we're working with, which is Aries. Then we are going to have some reflection time. I like to provide you with this time so you can tap into your own kind of intuition and your mental storage container unit of a brain and pull forth what Aries brings up for you. And then I will unleash the abundance of correspondences and associations that I have collected and gathered. So Aries archetype, self-reflection, correspondences, and then I'll give you guys a few ideas on how I would build a ritual around a full moon in Aries. Aries planetary ruler is Mars, very fiery, very masculine in energy. Mars is also Aries, the war god. So it's very masculine driven, outwardly fiery, the red planet, close to the sun. Aries house is the first house. The first house covers things like self, how you relate to yourself, your self-love, your sense of almost confidence, presence in the world, how you exist here. It's you, yourself. Modality is cardinal. This lines up perfectly with Mars, planetary ruler of Aries. It is very driven. It is very, it's the initiator, the leader, the energy, the outward energy, the actionable things, you know, it's goes out and gets her done. Aries is the cardinal fire sign, so again, it's that passion, it's that drive, it's the outward expression. Fire also is very creative, transformative, gets the wheel going, you know, the cardinal initiatory energy in combination with the element of fire. It's very go, 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 full steam ahead, powerful. Aries glyph is kind of two half-moon crescents joined together by a straight line. The crescents are to represent idealism and authority and leadership, and the joining of those two things. So taking you from the initiatory, this is the ideal and let's move towards it. Let's take actionable steps. It's that forward drive, and it's represented perfectly by the two crescents joined with a straight line coming together in the archetype of Aries. My mom is mowing the lawn before it gets rainy, wet, and snowy and fall really sets in here, so please excuse the lawnmower noises if you do hear them, or Ripley, who is watching her out the window right next to my filming setup. Hey Ripley, are you ready for the Aries full moon? As well as figuring out what parts of the Aries archetype you're going to be utilizing and calling in, get really clear on how you're going to be using the energy of this full moon. Having these clear ideas and a clear kind of structure of what you're hoping to get from the archetypes you're working with will help you have a clearer, more powerful, and more potent ritual. So you've got that culminating energy of the full moon, it's like a crescendo. I always want to compare it to music where it's just like you have reached the peak. It is the celebration, reap what you have sown, look at the fruits of your labor energy. You also have the illuminating energy, so the full moon lights up the night sky. You can see clearly in the dark. That can be utilized in protection magic, baneful kind of I can see all of the evil spirits in the dark vibe, so you can protect your house, protect yourself, do enchantments in regard to protection. You can also do shadow work with the same kind of illumination energy in the night. There is a lot of different ways to utilize the full moon energy and a lot of little nuances to deciding what you're going to call in when you're working a ritual on a full moon, or spell, or candle, or meditation, or whatever you're doing this full moon. My hat keeps hitting my pothos plant. I'm sorry. It's a lot of movement. We got that fiery cardinal energy flowing. Sorry. My pothos plant has been growing great lately, by the way. So take a few moments, get clear on the Aries archetype, what it brings up for you, and how you're going to be using this full moon's energy. I will put up some pretty imagery and a nice little tune for you. I'll see you back here in a few moments where I will then give you my associations and correspondences for the Aries archetype and chit chat a little bit about how I could see this energy being used for a full moon ritual. Welcome back. I hope that you have gotten clear on what you're feeling, what you're wanting to work with. Let's jump right into some correspondences and associations, starting with Aries Tarot Association. Aries Tarot card is the Emperor, which is so on par. If you do not have a tarot deck, you can always Google the imagery if you're someone who enjoys seeing it, or maybe I'll post a photo here, probably won't, I'm lazy. Working with the tarot representation of the zodiac sign that is at play when I'm doing a ritual is probably one of my go-to, easiest, fastest ways to pull in that archetype, because the tarot cards are so on point. Most of the time, depending on your deck, the colors and the imagery is all very calling in of the archetype. If you have one of those little guidebooks for your tarot deck, read the Emperor description, the Emperor message. Again, very on point for Aries. I sometimes just take the card and will put it on my altar or next to my bed or wherever I'm doing my stuff. Aries chakra is the solar plexus. It's the yellow chakra. Solar plexus is a lot about how you enforce your will out on the world. There's guided meditations around solar plexus chakras. Do you just want to identify if you have an excess amount of energy there? Is this ritual going to be about increasing or decreasing the energy in your solar plexus chakra? How does that all tie into what you're wanting to work on during this full moon? Body parts, we kind of touched on it just by my hand gestures, but Aries does rule the head, the face, your sinuses, your eyes, this region. If you're wanting to do any kind of like massage, or maybe go to a hair salon and you can actually just pay to have them wash your hair, it's very stimulating, really relaxing, and really good for people who have a lot of Aries energy in their chart, or just to kind of pamper yourself, help nourish and nurture that I, that self. A lot of head massage, face massage. If you get one of those rollers, I forget what they're called, get a little roller for your face. Now, crystals. So when it comes to like crystals or herbs or anything like that, when you're working with an Aries archetype that encompasses a lot of nuances and other kind of energies at play, you could also use crystals that tie into the specific parts of the archetype that you're wanting to work with. For example, Aries is a fire sign. If you have a lot of fiery crystals, you can use a fire crystal and kind of tie that association into the Aries archetype. That's why I said it was important to get clear on what parts of the archetype you're wanting to work with, so you can get really specific about your ingredients, your tools, your imagery. All of that can add levels and layers of meaning to your ritual. So if you don't have any of these crystals that will cover the broader archetype of Aries, you can utilize more specific ones like fire, for example. That being said, you've got the fire agate. You can use onyx, jasper, bloodstone, citrine, amethyst, aquamarine. All of these crystals are associated and tied to the Aries archetype. Trees that are associated with Aries basically just have to have thorns. So any kind of even bramble bushes, but something like a hawthorn tree, it's got gnarly long thorns, that's associated with Aries. Some herbs that are associated would be wormwood, nettle, basil, chevril, never know how to say that one right, but those are some herbs you can work with to integrate the Aries archetype. For me, I really like basils because it feels very optimistic in its energy play, and I feel like Aries it's on par with Aries for me, but that's what I use. Gods and goddesses, Aries himself is the god of war, Mars. You get the picture. Colors associated with Aries would be red, gold, yellow, black. Numbers are number 1 and number 9. That took me a second, and that's 9. Animals, of course, the ram, very driven, hard-headed, big old horns. Ram and sheep, actually, because the ram is a male sheep. Is it astrology with Melanie or biology? Lucky day or a specific day that speaks to the Aries archetype would be Tuesday. And I mentioned it previously, but it is traditionally, energetically speaking, more masculine, more driven, more direct, more cardinal, more fiery, straight to the point, more masculine. Those are a few correspondences and associations, tools that you can use to draw in the Aries archetype. I hope you find that helpful. I do want to not caution you, but maybe shed some light on the total and utter fuck shit up energy that an Aries full moon can definitely bring to the sky. I struggle a little bit when I make these full moon videos because it really depends on who you are as a person and what you're trying to achieve with this full moon ritual. If you are someone who is very docile, gentle, calm, and serene by nature, you might want to be calling in this fiery intensity and utilizing the power of the full moon and this cardinal fire war god archetype that is Aries to enhance your life, to initiate, to set on fire, to burn, to transform, to give you that kind of fire in the pit of your belly, get life going energy. But if you're someone who is maxed out in the fire department and you are trying to tone that back and balance it out, your approach to these archetypes with the full moon and the Aries energy is entirely different than someone who is trying to engage further into the fire realm. You might be trying to tone it back. You might be somebody who is maybe a little whipped with their tongue, can be hurtful sometimes when they have a bit of a fiery temper. If you are trying to make moves in life, then use this full moon and get that fiery goodness going. Shed some light on the situation at hand, all of the different moving parts, get clear on what's going down in your life. Aries has got a lot of power, and it can be energetic and happy and joyous and full of light and good creative movement. And it can also turn to irritation and anger and power struggles. So getting clear on how you're going to utilize that energy. What are you transforming? What are you lighting up with the light of the full moon and the fire in the night? Are you going to get into that shadow work and totally revolutionize some big deep wounds that were just too dark and too heavy for you before? Are you wanting to just celebrate and party? Totally an option. Full moons, I always like to remind you, are a great time for a good old celebration. And we all know that the last year or 2 or 3 have been rough. And some of us just deserve a good party. So you can totally have a little bevy because it raises your internal temperature and it will be considered more of a fire beverage out of the beverages. So have an alcoholic beverage, sit by a campfire. Just be clear about what you're doing and what you're putting out there. Set very clear intentions, write it down, and be crystalline and solid on what you are expecting from this full moon ritual, whether it is to enhance and utilize that intense, wonderful, culminating fire energy, or to subdue it a little bit and to temper that flame of yours. If you're wanting more of a literal suggestion, I would suggest getting a head massage because I had that idea while making this video and I think that sounds nice. A head massage your face. If you're wanting to purge anything, like something that has been maybe a limiting belief, that would be really good for an Aries full moon. If you want to light something on fire, like write down things about yourself that you're wanting to purge, light it on fire. Perfect activity for an Aries full moon. As always, I hope you found this video helpful. I know that getting correspondences and tools and animal associations and herbs and stuff like that can be slightly overwhelming, so I do try to keep them short. If you found this helpful, let me know in the comments below and tell me what you're going to be doing for your Aries full moon. I know I owe you a Pisces ritual video and I will be posting that later on. I promise I have not forgotten about you. I hope you have a fantastic full moon. Live long and prosper, and I will see you all back here very shortly with another video. Bye!